The Pittsburgh Steelers and their run game is something special, and the offensive line and those running backs deserve a ton of credit for yesterday's performance. George Pickens is the real deal and is wide receiver one on this football team, and Mason Rudolph has solidified his spot as QB1. Welcome back to Mike Drop Sports, everybody. I'm Jason. Let's talk about what the Steelers did yesterday in order to secure victory on the last day of 2023. How they've started off 2024 on a super positive note. Now we slide toward week 18 here, and we're going to get to see what the Pittsburgh Steelers are made of as they are in another must-win situation against the Baltimore Ravens, whom secured the 1 seed yesterday, and they're going to be able to maybe possibly rest some guys ahead of the 2024 AFC playoffs. Everybody counted the Steelers team out. They left them for dead on the side of the road, and now they're kind of pushing back. And I know they had that big skid, but under Mason Rudolph and George Pickens' connection, the Steelers team has been able to breathe some new life into that offense. That run game yesterday played lights out. And the only reason that they were really able to get this going is the poise of Mason Rudolph. His ability to be able to deliver the football and make the defense play them honest has proven to rub off on all parts of this offense. You got a guy in George Pickens who now has found a new way of playing, a new happiness. He's not so down in the dumps and pouting all the time. George is involved, and that's what they've needed to do all season long. And you're seeing this with his big play ability, the ability that he can just catch the football in any situation, his ability to get great separation and allow the quarterback to throw up those 50-50 balls, and he goes and gets them. He makes it look easy, guys. He runs with just grace, and you don't even think he's moving fast, but in reality, he is cruising. This Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line now is able to play a little bit more together. They still have problems. Mason Cole still absolutely horrible with his snaps back to the quarterback. Still making Mason Rudolph have to go grab it in tons of different places. And Mason Rudolph was able to overcome some of those Mason Cole snaps yesterday and keep drives alive, keep plays alive. And that's all you can ask for when you have a center that performs at such a low level. As for the rest of this offensive line, I thought they came together and played well. That run game got to get some good blocks from these guys. These guys opened up some nice lanes. They may have looked messy at times, but they were NFL running lanes. They were able to hit them. Najee Harris, a guy that, yes, I feel like Jaylen Warren's a little bit more versatile, but Najee Harris proved yesterday his role, a power run role. And that is his ability to run downhill. When he is not dancing around trying to make crazy moves, and when he has some running lanes, Najee Harris is a monster. And you saw it yesterday. He could have even got 3 touchdowns in that game, but what did Najee do? Provided some leadership and some heads-up play and got down, and the Steelers were able to kill the clock and get out of Seattle with a win and not jeopardize anybody else's safety by running more plays. That right there showed me that Najee Harris's head is right in the football game, right into the season right now, and he is really moving forward and trying to make things go for this Pittsburgh Steelers team. You've seen it before with other Steelers. Minkah Fitzpatrick knowing the situation, getting out of bounds in Atlanta last year after a big interception. That's the kind of leadership you need on this football team. Guys that are involved in the game and know the situation and keep a heads-up type attitude and know what to do when the chips are all down. Know how to get this team through muddy waters. Know how to make things happen to make things easier for the football team. Najee Harris proved yesterday that he has a significant role on this Steelers team right now. Jaylen Warren also provided a big-time spark, that big touchdown run to get the Steelers ahead there at the end of the first half. The Pittsburgh Steelers went in and really dominated this football game in several ways. The defense played when it had to play, made plays when it had to. It didn't allow guys like DK Metcalf and players like that to take over this football game. Yes, they got theirs a little bit, but that is an explosive offense in Seattle. And the way the Steelers are beating up on defense They played pretty well, if you ask me. There were times of concern. There were times you could think, man, this could get away from the Steelers. If they don't get a stop, they would just get that stop. They would hold the Seattle offense to a field goal or make a timely type turnover with a Geno Smith strip sack by Nick Herbig. The defense did what it had to do. TJ Watt was playing like an animal, forcing Geno Smith to slide around in the pocket. I thought they could have tackled and wrapped better and got them down and made some plays, tackle for losses, but they missed those opportunities, but they were able to overcome it. And they were able to play a little bit more loose because they didn't have to worry about, oh my God, we can't give up any type of points here, man, because our offense can't score. They don't have to play that type of football anymore. They can play more loose, fast, and free, and that's why you're seeing some turnovers. That's why you're seeing a lot of almost interceptions, things of that nature. You see them not get down on themselves if they give up a big play. They just strap their chin strap tight and get back in there and play again. The play of Miles Jack yesterday, a guy that just come back to the NFL, and he's playing lights out. So imagine you couple him with an Landon Roberts, if he can come back, that's playing super well before he went down. Couple those two together, and you might have a significant duo back there again at inside linebacker. There's so many things the Steelers team has to look forward to moving into Week 18. So many good things happening for this football team. And Mason Rudolph has been the catalyst. He has been the guy that has supplied this energy. The guy that has provided that leadership and poise. A guy that calmed this team down a little bit. And that is priceless. And we can all sit here and say, Mike Tomlin held him back, this, that, and the other. I get that, and you all may be right. And none of us probably really knew that Mason Rudolph was the guy. At least I didn't. I thought maybe, yeah, he had the biggest arm on the football team, but the last time I saw him, he had happy feet just like Kenny and Mitch. I didn't realize that he had worked that hard on his craft, and I have to give him props and admit when I'm wrong. I didn't think that Mason Rudolph would be able to provide this type of spark for this football team. But yet we find him here providing that spark, providing that leadership, and it's clutch. And Mason Rudolph is really coming through for a franchise that's buried him on the depth chart for many, many years and has limited his opportunities. And we can all knock Tomlin and all them for not recognizing it. Maybe they, had other motives. I don't know. We don't know the answer, and we'll never know that answer. But right now, we have to live for the moment, the now, here in 2024, this new year. And you cannot deny that Mason Rudolph is the franchise-type quarterback right now. At least he's playing like that. Is he going to be the franchise guy moving forward? We don't know. But if he continues to play lights out and he continues to provide this leadership for this football team, it's hard to deny that you don't want him to be under center. It's really hard, guys. And let's look at some of the numbers for Mason Rudolph. 18 of 24, 274 in the air, no touchdowns, no interceptions. That was a perfect game. Why? Because the run game was moving. And when you got down close, they were able to punch it in. You didn't have to score touchdowns with your arm. It's just the way it works in some games. But you have to give him props for throwing for them 274 yards. Hitting the tight end. Hitting George Pickens. Hitting Deontay Johnson when it matters. Utilizing that run game. It's big, guys. Checking in and out of calls. Being aggressive on third down. That's all you can ask for. Having confidence in your quarterback to be able to be aggressive and get big plays when you need to move the chains. It's just crazy. And you saw George Pickens. Even though he didn't score all those touchdowns that he did in the Cincinnati game, he was still thrilled. Why? Because he had, 130 yards receiving? GP. 7 catches, 131 yards. Deontay Johnson, 4 catches, 76 yards. The leading receivers on this football team. The two guys you want to be leading the charge each week. There's so many bright spots, guys. So many that we saw in that football game. So many things to get excited for as you're heading into Week 18. to play a Baltimore Ravens team that may rest some guys, that may give the Steelers a little bit better of a chance. And I like their chance against Baltimore, no matter what, no matter who Baltimore plays. I like the Steelers' ability to go in there and play football. And yes, the Steelers have put up 30 points plus in 2 straight weeks. Who would have ever imagined that? I know I wouldn't have 2 weeks ago. I would have never said that could happen. It's hard to even say that the Steelers, man, they've scored 30 plus points in the last 2 weeks. That's stellar to me. And that is all under the leadership of Mason Rudolph, and it's hard to deny it. Now, he may come back to earth here soon. He may stumble. But what do you do with the young Kenny Pickett? A guy that was supposedly healthy yesterday, but didn't get to suit up. Was kept as that third string emergency quarterback type role, but never even dressed. What do you do with Kenny Pickett? Do you continue to let him sit? In my eyes, you have to. You have to start Mason Rudolph, and it doesn't matter what Kenny thinks or says. Right now, it's not Kenny's time. It's not Kenny's opportunity. This is Mason's opportunity. And when the offseason hits, that's when you sift through all that other stuff. That's when you sift through the garbage. Because still, this season could have several more games, and you may need Kenny Pickett. So you have to keep him involved in one way or another. And allow him to heal fully before you throw him back out there. He may have only been 90% yesterday. We don't know. We're not inside that building. But one of the Steelers insiders, Jerry Dulac, said that Mason Rudolph was healthy, or Kenny Pickett was healthy yesterday. So you take that for what it was. 37 minutes and 33 seconds time of possession yesterday for your Pittsburgh Steelers. That allows the defense to get their breath. Doesn't let them give up a ton of points. Yes, they gave up 23 points, so imagine if the Steelers would have lost that time of possession and continued to put that defense out there, what would have happened? You had to have an awesome performance yesterday by the Steelers offense in order to keep the defense off the field, because that's your best defender, running the football. Then you saw the Pittsburgh Steelers yesterday only punt the football one time. When's the last time you've seen a game where the Pittsburgh Steelers punted once in a football game? It's been a while, guys. It's been a long while. These last 2 games have been special, and I will take them for what they are, and I'm so happy that we've got to see good football these last couple weeks, and I hope we get to see at least one more game of good football no matter what happens, even if the Steelers don't get into the playoffs, even if they don't get that help they need. It's hard to be sour about 3 performances straight if that happens, for Mason Rudolph being a quality number 1 type quarterback. It's hard to get down about that. It's something to be excited for, even moving into 2024. But Mason is only under this 1-year deal, and when 2024 here, the season ends, that contract expires. He's on a $1.8 million deal, 1-year deal. So what will Mason Rudolph demand on the open market if he does well, if he guides the Steelers even further down the road and continues to win football games? What happens? What kind of price tag does he demand then? Are the Steelers going to be able to re-sign him? What do they do in the offseason with Kenny Pickett? There's going to be a ton of questions and so much for us to cover. Then, once it starts to happen, once that ends, once the season ends and things start to unfold, then we can talk about them. But for now, let's stick with this football team and how they are moving forward into Week 18. There's going to be time for off-season talk, a lot of time, guys. And we'll be chomping at the bit by the time the season rolls around next year, the end of summer in 2024. We're going to have a lot of time from now until then to talk about Steelers draft, to talk about quarterback controversies, to talk about what the Steelers need to do in free agency. So we're going to move forward to the Baltimore Ravens in Week 18, your 9-7 Steelers, heading into M&T Bank Stadium to take on the number 1 seed in the AFC playoffs, Baltimore Ravens, a heated divisional rival. What do the Steelers do? Do they win? Do they continue to fly high? We'll have to see. It's going to be a special game. The game time has been announced. It's going to be at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the Pittsburgh Steelers now are going to have one game before them at 1 p.m. that could get them into the playoffs. A Jacksonville loss to the Tennessee Titans could get the Steelers into the playoffs if they win. Now, there's a scenario to where if the Steelers would tie the Baltimore Ravens and a couple losses happened, I think or Jaguars or Bills loss, that's a weird scenario and it's very far-fetched and it would be a hard one for it to happen. So basically, the Steelers have two paths. In reality, two basic paths that we can look at. The Pittsburgh Steelers have to win in Baltimore. One, we know that. But they need an Indianapolis Colts loss or tie. They need either a Buffalo Bills loss, and they need a Jacksonville Jaguars loss. Those are the scenarios that could get them in. And I think they would only need one of those to happen in certain situations. So we'll see how this all plays out. Especially when the Miami Dolphins are going to have to play to continue to try to keep that number 2 seed. And not to mention try to continue to hold on to that division. Because I think if the Buffalo Bills beat the Miami Dolphins, they could win that division. But the Steelers would still have a chance with the Jaguars losing to the Tennessee Titans. The Steelers have a couple outs. A couple ways to make this happen. It's not like last season to where they needed 2 or 3 teams to do exactly what they needed in order to make the playoffs if they won. They don't need help from 2 or 3 teams at one time this year. So at least it's down to one team does one thing and the Steelers can get in. So we'll see how this all plays out. We'll see if the Steelers are able to make the playoffs. We'll break down the playoff scenarios even more this week as we inch toward this Baltimore game and what is going to be a monster game. We'll do our live show on Wednesday. We'll do like everything that we can do. I'm going to put out another show for members only. I know we only have a little bit of members right now. I want to give them a shout out. My cousin Doug AQ, he joined. He's a member. He was a new one. AK Davis, he's a member of the Mic Drop Mafia now. So I encourage you all to join that as we're going to build those perks up. Get those like emojis, get the badges and everything going. I think you do get though your name highlighted now, the badge. And I'm going to put out a little bit of content here that is for members only. And I'm going to film that and that should come out Wednesday also for people that are members. So we're going to continue to do that. Like I said, we're going to try to do a giveaway here for a piece of Steelers memorabilia. We're going to try to get that done too. And I'm going to figure out a way in order to raffle it off to you guys free of charge. But the Pittsburgh Steelers, guys, they're in it. They're ready to roll. And we're rolling here at Mic Drop Sports too. We're growing every day, and I appreciate that so much. And it's just been a fantastic ride. It's had its ups and downs. The Steelers have had major ups and downs, and that's what's kind of made the channel go up and down. So it's been an amazing ride, a crazy ride. We've had moments of anger, moments of elation, happiness. We're pumped up. We've had those down moments. We've had those live shows to where we're just down and out, man. But here we are with a chip in a chair here in week 18. And that's all you can ask for. And you have guys on that football team that their time's running out. Their time's running thin. They ain't got many more chances at this Lombardi trophy chasing type thing. One being Cam Hayward. And hopefully, like I said before, he starts getting these guys to step up and gets this defense fired up for a big-time push. And hopefully the Steelers get the help they need and get a win in Baltimore in order to get in the dance. Because I like their chances against teams like Miami. I like the Steelers' ability to control the clock with the run game. I like the Steelers' ability to be able to go down there and hit them in the mouth and play a physical brand of football. And I don't think the Dolphins want to do that. So I like the Steelers to be able to make some noise if they get in there. I think that they would be able to make some noise. So let's just see how this all plays out, guys. Big time things happening. Special things happening. And I think you've just found your quarterback of the future if he continues to do well. You may have found him. Mason Rudolph, 6'5", 200 some pounds, bigger, stronger arm, maybe not as athletic as the other two, but he's more patient. He's able to see the field. He's able to stand in the pocket. He doesn't have those happy feet. And for right now, that's what this Pittsburgh Steelers offense needs. And it's exactly what the doctor ordered for the Steelers, especially when they were struggling mightily in a 3-game skid where they were just getting their butt whooped by teams that they probably should have beat. But that's neither here nor there. And the Steelers sit where they sit, and they've dug their hole. And We're here where we are, and we can't change it. So we'll talk about how this is going to move forward and what's going to happen as we head closer to that Baltimore game. And we're going to be watching games at night that day. And by the end of the night, by about 11 p.m., we should know whether the Pittsburgh Steelers are playoff bound or not. All right, guys. Until next time, I'm Jason. This is Mike Drop Sports. Until the next show, which will be tomorrow. Peace.